This is a message to all my supporters of this podcast. I'm introducing a new supporters program. You can contribute a small amount as a one-off payment to show your love for this podcast. Thank you in advance for all your contributions. I just wanted to let you know before we start the podcast that I am doing an online podcast course, how to be able to create, get your guests, scale it and monetize it. So please do go to abmpodcastcourse.co.uk and go into the contact us bit. I'm looking for new people to be able to be a podcast creator and really to be able to develop their skills and knowledge into a podcast. So as I said, go to abmpodcastcourse.co.uk and sign up. Thanks. This is the Absolute Business Mindset Podcast, created and hosted by Mark Hayward. This podcast will interview entrepreneurs, business owners, and people in their career. We will delve into their journey to success, key life milestones, and go deep in their area of expertise. This podcast will inspire and educate with great guests. Get ready to learn from other successes and failures. Today, we have Evan J., who is CEO of Straight Up Growth, who manages 10 million in Amazon ads and 100 million in Amazon sales. Hello, Evan. How are you?
Doing well, Mark. Appreciate you having me.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me today. So we're going to dive straight into it, and we're going to talk about your degree that you did, at the business degree you did at University of Florida. So were you from Florida, or did you go there, and why did you choose the business degree?
So I grew up in New York. One of my friends who went to UPenn said that Florida was sweet. Checked it out. I was there when Tim Tebow was there, and they won all the basketball and football championships. Right. Chose a business degree because, I knew I wanted to one day run a business when I was a little bit younger, yeah.
Oh, so it was always an aspiration to be an entrepreneur and run your own, be a business owner?
Yeah, I grew up, my dad, owned his own dental practice, and my grandmother ran a school for nonprofits and low-income students and set up schools around New York for low-income students and a lot of disabled as well.
So it's interesting because a lot of the people that I speak to on my podcast never have that sort of, or they find entrepreneurship through their journey, and then become business owners and hugely successful. Interestingly, I just want to delve into this a little bit. So you had the background of people that in your family had their own businesses. Was that showcased by your parents, that they sort of were encouraging you to have responsibilities in sort of business? The whole archetypal lemonade stand on the porch and things?
Not so much. My journey there I really had been in denial that I should be an entrepreneur for some time. After I started my own business, I tried to go back and work for someone else. And, I'm a terrible employee who believes in himself and, needs to do things for himself. So that's kind of how it happened. It wasn't, a push from the parental unit to go in that direction.
Okay, we'll talk about your sort of your early stage career, and then we'll go into the business owner stage. But you then you did a Master of Science at NYU as a management of technology, or in management and technology. So did you then? So you were obviously thinking that technology was the vehicle to be able to set up your own business.
Yeah, I mean, I had taken, had been at a couple of tech companies, was doing pretty well in business development there. I was, getting a master's while working full time in New York and killing myself, running around in a full suit and Nikes just so I can go fast enough, and looked appropriate. But tech I thought would be really the way that, we would make it. And I wanted to understand how people in tech and engineering really spoke so I could manage and run a tech team and tech company.
Awesome. And what I thought was fascinating was, was it a year within your degree, or was it after your degree? You went and did 4 internships, and these are fascinating internships you got. So was it a gap year? Was it in the middle of your course, or was it after your degree that you did the internship?
So I did most of my internships when I was studying abroad in Rome. My favorite one was running around selling bus trips to students, while I was in Rome, and I would travel around Europe for free, which was, incredible experience and a lot of fun. And then I went to Clear Channel Radio and Fox Television, the same summer while I was in between my junior and senior year in undergrad for University of Florida.
So let's just delve into this because internships have become quite fashionable again. When I was in starting my my career initially, there was always internships available, but they were sort of varying degrees and quite specialised as well. You first thing first. So you spent 6 months in Rome. So was that just a desire to go to Europe, or was there Rome specifically there for a reason?
Well, the real reason I went to Rome was because I was in a fraternity that got kicked off campus. And rather than living, very far off campus with my fraternity, I was going to go to Madrid because I had taken 6 years of Spanish. It was too late to get into the Madrid program. And, they let me into the Rome program 2 days after, it was closed. And I ended up meeting my wife, on the trip that I've been with for, 11, 12 years. So it worked out okay. But, I had visited Rome once with my family and I loved it. So, that was part of the decision.
So as you knew Spanish, I'm assuming you Italian and Spanish is relative.
It was close enough. It gave me a leg up. I was able to teach computers and gym to students at a nunnery that were 5 and 6, and I taught them Word and Excel in Italian. It's not as tough as it sounds. It's usually control in a letter. But yeah, so the similarity between Spanish and Italian did help quite a bit.
Absolutely. And so you also did your internship at iHeartRadio and Fox Broadcasting. So was that people that you knew at those organizations? So
Michael Feldman, who's an advisor on this company, that I've known for some time, got me both of those internships. I had an interest in sales, and he got me into both of their sales departments. I was still in college, so it was a good experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Very reputable companies, amazing companies to have internships on. And did those internships, let's just say the iHeartRadio and Fox, did they give you anything that sort of helped you with the future of your career? You said it was sales focused, and I know you're big on sales and business development as part of your role and your business. But did you learn techniques? Why did you not say media for one example?
Yeah, I mean, the internships were a lot of the grunt work and not a lot of the fun stuff. But I was able to get into one pitch, with iHeartMedia and watch them pitch the New York Knicks, which was, interesting. And that was kind of intriguing. And, I think that the research and understanding of, who you're talking to and coming up with a plan is something that I took with me and has helped me in my career. Not only on the actual execution in front of clients, but also in getting in the positions, that I was able to get throughout my career.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, we're just going to take a step out of your career. Do you have a morning routine?
Yep. So I do every morning. I wake up. I do TM, Transcendental Meditation, for 20 minutes.
Right.
Has really been super helpful. I drink my Raza coffee now, which is adaptogenic coffee. It's supposed to strengthen your nervous system as opposed to, just tell you you're not tired, which has been helpful. Those are really the two main things I do. I was doing the 5 Tibetans every day for years, and I stopped doing them. But they're yoga exercises that are good for energy and waking you up, and supposed to help make you live a little bit longer. Should probably pick those up again.
So your meditation. So tell me a little bit about it. I've tried meditation a few times, and Never really kept it up, mainly because by the time I'm sort of functioning in the morning, it's now it's time to start the day sort of thing, or I want to start the day a little bit earlier. So what does your meditation give to you? What benefits do you find?
Sure. So, I started with the apps. I did Calm, I did Headspace, and, they were good. They helped a little bit. But transcendental meditation, I think, is a different level. I do it twice a day. I do it in the morning. I do it in the afternoon. And I find that my level of stress goes from whatever it is, could be, a 1 out of 10, could be a 10 out of 10. It goes down, 7 points or so. If it's at a, 10, it goes down to 2 or 3 even. It's usually not out of 10. It's usually no more than 7. So it pretty much goes to 0 pretty much all the time. I'm able to relax and focus and perform much better. So, I don't leave home without it, Mark. I do it. I do it first thing in the morning. I do it, before I eat dinner every night as well.
Awesome. So let's go back into your career. So, so you spent a year as a commercial real estate broker. Why did you choose real estate property? Why did you choose that?
Yeah. So, the job was in Orlando, where my wife is from. After college, I knew I wanted to stay with my wife. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And Mark Zamilichak told me I was going to make, $1 bajillion if I just did, followed their plan. And, I tried to sell office buildings in 2010 in an upside down real estate market. So
terrible.
it didn't pan out to, where I was a millionaire, but definitely learned an important skill set from, people that kind of helped me throughout my career.
That's fascinating. As you say, it was the wrong time, maybe the right job, but the wrong time to do it. Sort of that time after the credit crunch was impacting real estate and property massively at that time. But then you moved on to as account manager, where you were training real estate brokers and financial institutions and banks in Florida, at CoStar Group. So that was slightly different. You were then training the real estate people. Did you obviously had the grounding as a real estate broker. Was that helpful? Did you find that you could then sell to sort of the financial institutions and banks?
Yeah, I knew it. I knew the language. I knew what information was important to them and why it was important, which really helped to position it. CoStar did have a pretty good training program. Has grown tremendously since I worked with them. So, their stock was at like 40 last time I checked. It was at like 700 or something crazy. Wow. They really knew what they were doing. So the technology was a must, and I really learned how to get in front of people. My first client, told me, "No, don't come by my office. I'm not interested. I'll never buy, your service." And making that sale, I think, gave me the practical experience to have a lot of belief in myself, become more persistent, in ways that were professional. It was a really good experience early in my career.
And it's so interesting. So many people that I've spoken to on this podcast talk of how sales gives them resilience, strength, persistence, all these sorts of things that you've said. And it seems to tell true that a lot of the successful business owners and entrepreneurs start in sales and business. Why do you think that is?
Well, if you don't sell anything, you don't have a business. You have an idea. That's the biggest thing that I see. I went to market with my first idea that I thought was slightly above average, and by the time we were doing $1 million in revenue, people with better ideas that had no sales experience or just didn't choose to sell because they didn't think their idea was good enough, had given up and went back to work for someone else, or, had no sales and were still tinkering with their ideas. So you've got to sell if you want to have a business. And usually, if you're the CEO or the entrepreneur, you've got to sell at least the first deal, So, yeah.
Awesome. And then you moved back to New York, or you moved back to New York with the webinar business consultant. Was
Yep.
that for a lifestyle choice to be back in New York?
So when I was at CoStar, within the span of like a month, my wife was like, I want to move back to New York. My apartment got broken into that I was living in Fort Lauderdale. My closest friend at the CoStar group had moved on, and I got offered a job that, paid 2x in New York City pretty fast. I applied on startuphire.com and got the job, and I didn't realize that New York would cost me twice as much, so there was that. But so that's why I kind of made the jump. My family was there. I moved back in with the folks and saved some money for 6 months, and then moved into the city.
Okay, and why you were selling webinars to business people, was it?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to go from where I was at Marks and Millichap into tech, and so CoStar was kind of like an interim step towards getting into tech. And so webinar technology at the time was very hot. It was I work with some big companies like IBM and Oracle and SAP, as well as smaller rapidly growing startups. So it was good to kind of get a flavor of all the different types of companies that you could work with, but the technology was very hot at the time.
So I want to come back to webinars just a bit. So what do you prefer, working with big companies or small companies?
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hi, I'm Alex, the host of X Health Show. Meet the future of healthcare. Think X-Men, that's X Health. Actual superheroes behind programming living cells to cure cancer once and for all. Tech that detects preterm delivery in seconds, brain-computer interface, or apps that employ AI to match you, your disease, with the best treatment. X Health Show brings to you visionaries who push the boundaries of healthcare from Switzerland, the heart of Europe and the most innovative country in the world. Let me introduce you to their startups. Head to X Health Show, meet the future of healthcare. Happy to greet you there.
Myself, I like the working in smaller companies, where you're putting together the plan and you're executing. I like all the hard stuff in a business. Once it's like, oh, new customer, that's exactly like this other customer that we already work with, and it's like kind of monotonous. It's I don't find it as exciting. But yeah, bigger companies, typically comes with a bigger price tag. So there are pros and cons. I really look at it as the, if you don't mind my French, the money to bullshit ratio. How much money are we making versus how much BS are we dealing with, whether that's stress, ridiculous amount of hours, boss that's, either phenomenal or terrible, has a big, a big impact on that.
And back to the webinar. So webinars are massive now. Like, obviously with COVID,
Sure.
People are learning now in different ways, and not saying it. How do you think the sort of webinar? What do you think of webinars now compared to what it was like when you were working?
Yeah, it's different. So they kind of got hot again. We pivoted back from. We were going to have a total face-to-face strategy, which I think a lot. We're going to go to every conference, and shake hands and kiss babies and do the dinners, as much as possible. But I actually started to use webinar.net, who the same people as On24 created a similar technology. So I was using them in our strategy to just partner up with people on content, and then go to marketing and generate new leads, from our shared network, where we just put out some thought leadership, and you'd catch some people that knew other people or knew us and were a better fit for their services or both services. So I think it's a must now to be putting out this sort of content, as well as webinar content that is thought leadership and high level, not so much kind of pitching and selling, just generating content that people will be attracted to kind of a little bit more naturally, now that face-to-face is a drop of an impossibility for now.
And how's COVID affected your business?
COVID's oddly affected our business in a positive way. So you've got companies that are big in Ulta and Sephora, that would never, ever, ever consider Amazon, that, Amazon becomes the number one focus for a business like that. Amazon's business is up 41% year over year. So sales for all of our clients are up pretty tremendously. It's really helped with client retention, which is pretty close to 100%, with the exception of one client whose sales went from 150K to 220K in about 4 months. So they didn't pay their bills on time, but that's another story. So yeah, it's been great for retention. We've been growing really fast. We hired, 3 people in the time I thought we'd hire 1 or 2. And so, yeah, COVID has been pretty strangely, a positive for our business.
Yeah. And I suppose Amazon, as you said, is growing year on year, month on month, isn't it? With the current climate, and everything is it's also convenient now, isn't it? The Amazon trail spreads across so many different areas now, and their delivery is so well done. We'll come on to Amazon and your business of Straight Up Growth. I just want to ask you something outside so do you have a coach or a mentor at the moment?
Oh yeah, so I mentor currently. I've coached, a number of people that fortunately have turned out to be rock stars that are all pretty good human beings. Right now, I mentor at San Diego State University. My mentee, Jasmine Villa, is co-founder of TechMate, which helps seniors with technology remotely, which, right now is a pretty incredible service that saves a lot of headaches. I personally, my grandmother was their first client. I'm trying to run a business and she has all sorts of internet related challenges. So, Jasmine and her team have taken care of some of those for me. So very happy, to have given them their first paycheck at their business, and they're growing, quite a bit as well.
But do you have a coach?
I do. I have 2 different coaches. So Steve Little is our business coach. He's sold 6 businesses for 120 million each. He helps businesses to focus on a strategic exit plan. So he's helped me to write our 3-year plan that I follow to a T. And I also work with Richard Carlson, who's my kind of personal coach, helped me more of just a leadership coach. Helped me to realize that, I need to stop, help me to understand who I am, doing Myers-Briggs and things like that. Yeah. And, steered me back towards entrepreneurship from, being an employee for other businesses. And I thought that was pretty important, time in my life. He typically will coach, guys like Pfizer, who right now is pretty popular, and charges them a little bit more than he charges me. Thank you, Richard. So... Yeah. So I'm interested about the coaching center. So it sounds like you've been working with these people quite a long time. You sort of, it's felt like it's a long-term relationship with both of your coaches. Yeah. So they haven't been super long. It's been a year and change for both of them, but it will be a long time. Richard is my Mr. Miyagi. He's, he'll be hopefully in my corner for, the course of the next 20 years and or so. Same with, Steve, who's been super helpful as well.
Awesome. Okay, let's go into your business. So it's your CEO and founder of Straight Up Growth. So do you want to just talk me through a little bit about your business?
Sure. So, Straight Up Growth was created to help good people grow their online sales. Most proud that we've helped a lot of people who had, sales declining on Amazon, businesses declining due to COVID, retain and grow their teams and employee staff because their sales have gone up pretty tremendously. Have a CPG client in the chocolate space whose sales grew 400% in their first 30 days with us, from 400s to close to 2 million to number 1 in grocery and gourmet food on Amazon. So I have quite a few of those types of case studies as well. Anything in particular you're looking for me to share with the audience, Mark?
Well, I'm just interested because Amazon is evolving, as I said, into covering all spaces now, and sort of advertising on our Amazon used to be just banner adverts, but now you've got sponsorship, and when you're looking through items, you've got sponsored items and things like that, which are, I'm assuming you're involved in helping people do that. Just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, Amazon's business in 2016, in the advertising space, did about 550 million. My partner Daniel was spending 5 and 10 cents a click, at the time for his clients. He was the first ad guy at a top 50 Amazon seller called Quiver. He went on to another agency, and now is doing the same for our clients. In 2019, Amazon's business went from 550 million to 11.2 billion, and is increasing pretty steadily. So, advertising right now, cost per clicks are, as high as they've ever been. It's tough to get inventory into Amazon. We have pretty good relationships with a number of people at Amazon. They're starting to refer us clients, which is nice. And so we really help with everything on the growth side. We do the setup piece for clients that we focus on the growth side, but our strategies consistently, get our clients to sales that they didn't think were possible or had no idea how to get. And I think a lot of it comes to just a deep understanding of how Amazon's algorithm works and how their reporting works and how to manipulate that to your advantage, which I think is purposely tough to understand. And, a lot of people that made a lot of money on Amazon in 2013, 14, 15, 16, just listing products, think that they're gurus, and they really haven't, stepped back and learned and kept up because they made a lot of money and they really think that they know what they're talking about. So it makes it difficult actually for us because there are just so many agencies that are like that, and that's why our business has been almost 100% referrals and word of mouth at this stage.
And so you said about your co-founder. So he's the sort of the person who knows the algorithm. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, he knows and understands Amazon strategies, what levers to pull to drive sales, and we've, trained pretty aggressively. We've started to fill a bench of talent that we train before they come on board with the company as well. So, he's doing a good job of removing the reliance on what's in his brain and getting it into the company, which, our clients certainly appreciate and enables us to grow.
And you said your main business strategy is referrals at the moment.
It's really been a lot of referrals. Thankfully, when we grow someone's sales, 100 to 400%, pretty rapidly, they've been telling people. We've landed into a couple of the kind of VC, PE portfolios and have had success for one client, and they're like, I think you should probably talk to these guys over there, at our other business and do kind of the same. So that's, but those typically start with someone who knows us or has, some experience with us. And before COVID hit, we were doing a lot of the going to restaurants and kissing babies, thankfully. And, a lot of those relationships when COVID did hit, panned out into new business. So, that was good to get us started and kind of, snowballed from there.
And are you organically growing or your business, or have you taken in funding and given up equity?
No, this is my second business. We've spent less than 20 grand. That's gotten to $1 million ARR. So, I personally, think at least have seen that it's a little bit of a myth that you need, funding to grow. I think that if you manage money, intelligently in the beginning and drive sales without cash, you can service, the deals later. If you need to spend money later on, you can. But we've got a small team with a couple guys that have, a small piece. That one guy ran digital strategy for Procter & Gamble. Another guy's the head of an agency, on the paid side locally as well. So, a lot of, they've got a small percentage, but we haven't given up cash to grow.
And
don't intend to.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I think you're absolutely right. Myth busting that you need to get VC money and seed money. I just think it works as a model in Silicon Valley, and but it doesn't always work on all business models. So I think you're absolutely right to myth bust that. Have you met Jeff Bezos?
No, I haven't met Jeff Bezos. I think last night I had a dream that I met Jeff Bezos. I did. What
question did you ask him in your dream?
Oh man, I think I just went for a handshake because that was all he would accept. But yeah, I was with someone I haven't seen since high school, and he was working in like a weird Amazon office, and he was sitting in like a swivel chair next to two other big wigs, in these swivel chairs. And I just went for the handshake, and that's all I got. So.
Awesome. So something that you're developing at the moment, or developed at the moment, is these advanced analytics, so predictive forecasting. So tell me how that you've pivoted or slightly changed your business model to include the analytics side as well.
Yeah, so we haven't really changed the business model to include analytics, but it's definitely something that we offer that's been extremely important and used in billion-dollar acquisitions. When you can understand from a predictive forecasting perspective what ad spends, at what conversion rates will sell how much inventory and at what price point, gives you quite a big advantage and helps you to understand what the value, of a company is currently quite a bit. And also for our smaller clients, helps them to forecast how much inventory they need to create and get into Amazon. So, really helps them to forecast their growth and make decisions, about that on, the hiring side, on the inventory side. Should I even, take Amazon that seriously? How is it going to impact, my other business channels as well? So that's kind of been the focus, and it's been really important for our customers.
So I'm just intrigued. What's your ad spend? I know you said most of your clients are coming through word of mouth, but do you have an ad spend on your own ads?
Yeah, so our ad spend up through, let's say, November was pretty much zero. Mm-hmm. We grew totally organically. It's not Amazon where you've got 150 million people sitting there with their credit card to sign up, as Prime subscribers on Google and Facebook. But we're going to start to tune those up pretty aggressively on a number of different channels.
Not to go into too much detail, I don't mind if you go into detail or not, but are you looking sort of Facebook? Are you looking LinkedIn? Like, what are you thinking?
Yes.
If you're going to have the both?
Both. We're going to do some other ones as well that you're familiar with.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. And it seems to be a thread all the way through your career and your businesses is sales and business development and developing your sales side of your business in this example as well. So why has sales continued to be the cornerstone of everything that you do? As a founder, you said earlier on, as a founder, you have to sell or you don't have a business. But it's fascinating that the sales and the BD side has been a constant in all of your businesses and career.
Yeah, I think that's where you drive the growth and you're able to afford, the people on the team to help you, to implement and do the work. At the moment, we're talking to people about running sales for our business that have a bigger skill set than me in regards to sales and selling. But in the beginning stages, if you're not selling, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, then your business is declining. And so, it has to be. I enjoy it. I love talking to people. My vision of what sales could be when I was selling bus trips in Europe was, creating win-win and helping people kind of get what they want. So if I firmly believe in what I'm selling and I do it straight up growth, I really enjoy it. I view it as helping other people, and I enjoy that aspect of it quite a bit.
So, and just going back to what you said about one of your coaches, that you've got a 3-year plan of where you want your business to be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to.
Sure.
You can tell me as much or as little as you like, but I'm interested. So, from a personal point of view, is that your business's plan for 3 years, or is it your own personal plan on how you are going to be playing a role in this business?
It's both. I've created both. They're separate from each other, but they're also intertwined, where if my business is, pulling me or pushing me away from my personal plan, why would that make any sense? I think it's important. And one person who I think does this really well is Richard Branson. He's done a phenomenal job of intertwining his career and his passions and his family life and keeping them kind of tightly knit.
Yeah.
And so that's someone who I think does a really good job of it as a practical example that people might understand.
Yeah, perfect. All right, we're coming to the end of the interview. I ask 6 same questions to everyone that comes on my podcast. They're quick fire questions. They don't need a quick fire answer. First one is, what's the best decision that you made?
Not pursuing a budget blinds franchise. I'm really not handy. Give my wife some credit for that. She steered me away from it. That would have been a mistake. I'm really not handy at all. I have no fashion sense. That would have been a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
I think the best piece of advice was potentially from Richard, just to kind of understand myself and take a deep look and dive into who I am, to understand where I need to be happy. And so for me, understanding, my Myers-Briggs and taking a look and reading, and from there I went and read the biography that encompasses the autobiography of Ben Franklin, to get a better understanding of someone who with the same Myers-Briggs that was pretty successful, and why, and some of the pitfalls and things that they did that, led to big wins. So that helped me to really explore and understand myself, and has had a very positive impact.
Yeah, so I read the biography of Benjamin Franklin as well. It's fascinating.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A few years ago now, but
it's quite a long one.
It is a long one, and the variety of different things that he was involved in throughout his career I thought was absolutely fascinating, and was exceptionally good at every single piece of it, wasn't he? I suppose I aspire to have that variety. I know he sort of had areas of his sort of life in publishing and various other things in politics, and he sort of did, but I liked that he was still able to keep that variety throughout his career and play different roles in that. I thought that was amazing. Next question. Sorry. Who's the person that's helped you most in your career?
Probably my grandmother, okay. Which is odd. She's just been a very positive influence in my understanding of business situations, and given me more of the framework to work in, from just asking her tons and tons of questions about how to deal with different situations. Mm-hmm. She was basically the principal equivalent at 300 schools at the same time in New York. And so dealt with a lot of different personalities and situations. And so, I think that the framework and that she's given me has been really helpful in how I, handle different aspects of business.
Awesome. Do you have any regrets?
I try not to. I'm a person that believes everything happens for a reason. So, I look at Matt McConaughey actually wrote a book about it in a podcast that I liked quite a bit with Tim Ferriss called Green Lights, where everything in life, good, bad, or otherwise can potentially lead to a green light, in a positive situation. And so, I've had a lot of falls, have fallen very hard on my face, have seen some things that I didn't like in life. And, I think that I try to turn them into a green light, a positive. So yeah, no regrets, just learnings.
Yeah. What are you most proud of?
In this business, I'm particularly proud of the team and the positive impact on businesses that we're able to create, during the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of people, were losing their jobs. At one of our first customers, we grew their sales 96% in 4 months. And they, instead of closing down the situation they were in, they were closing down their, China operation. They let go 25% of their staff. They were able to retain and hire, quite a bit of staff. So, our own straight up growth as well as their straight up growth and some of our clients is what I'm most proud of, and the positive impact that it's had for people and families.
Awesome. What does legacy mean to you?
Legacy is an interesting one. Legacy, I think, is I definitely want to leave a legacy of, people that are kind of, I think it's taking away not only the business success and the learnings and the, positivity to stand up in the next generation of a family and, beyond that. I think it's being in a positive position to make a difference in the world in a way that's, something that I'd be proud of. And so, I personally think that I'd like the next generation of, people in my family to be good-natured, hardworking, caring, hopefully intelligent as well. Married a pretty, smart woman. So, hopefully that helps with that.
Lovely. And last question, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah, the best place is LinkedIn. I've got a pretty decent following, as well as straightupgrowth.com, just straightupandgrowth.com. But yeah, I'm Evan J on LinkedIn. And those are really the two best places to find me. Post content, somewhat regularly on LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you.
Thanks a lot. Bye.